Imagine if a person from the past suddenly appeared in the 21st century. How would they react to our modern technology? This is precisely what happens to Lucius, a Roman architect who hadn't been able to create anything new for a long time. As a result, he was facing financial difficulties, and people found his ideas boring and outdated. Will he be able to win everyone's hearts again? Tune in and find out. New to the channel? Hit that subscribe button. We bring you amazing movies with detailed explanation, which you won't want to miss out. One day, Lucius's friend took him to a public bathhouse, a place where people usually felt at peace. However, Lucius was skeptical about finding peace among naked men. Frustrated, he plunged into the water and noticed a small whirlpool forming at the other end of the tub. As he approached it, the strong current pulled him in. Moments later, he found himself struggling to breathe in an underwater tunnel. He fought to reach the surface and, upon finally emerging, was shocked to find himself not in ancient Rome, but in a modern-day Japanese bathhouse. Seeing several elderly men without clothes left him speechless. Lucius had never seen such flat-faced people before. Once he recovered from the shock, he noticed that this world was far more advanced than his own. He was fascinated by baskets, water taps, and massaging devices. Accidentally, he wandered into the women's changing room, where an elderly woman screamed and hit him with a metal box. A manga artist named Mami, present in the room, found inspiration for a new character from Lucius's appearance and started sketching him. Shortly afterward, Lucius regained consciousness and was given a bottle of flavored milk, which tasted so good that he passed out and returned to his city of Rome. People told him he had drowned in the tub and had been pulled out just a few minutes earlier. Initially, Lucius thought meeting the flat-faced people was just a dream, until he found the empty milk bottle still with him. 2 months later, Lucius transformed his bathroom ideas into something straight out of the 21st century. People praised his creativity and he became wealthy overnight. Now even in his town, people enjoyed massage booths and cold sweet milk. One day, an elderly man bathing in a tub mentioned wanting a personal bathroom. As Lucius was brainstorming how to build it, he was once again swept into the 21st century by a strong water current. An elderly man asked Lucius to bathe him, and though confused, he complied. He saw many new things like water fountains and shower hats. Coincidentally, it was Mommy's house, and she recognized Lucius. She ran to get her sketchbook, but before she returned, Lucius had disappeared back to Rome. Back in Rome, Lucius built a luxurious bathroom in the old man's house, earning a fortune. He could now provide a good life for his wife, but she was unhappy because she wanted to be a mother, while Lucius was too busy with work. This led to a heated argument, and she left, cursing him. A few days later, Lucius received a summons from the Roman king, who had heard great things about his work and wanted him to design a personal bathroom. The king wanted it to be unique, unlike anything seen before. Accepting the challenge, Lucius searched the city for ideas but found nothing. Feeling ashamed that his ideas were just copies of the 21st century, he accidentally stepped into a drain and was once again transported to the modern era. Mommy was now working in a bathroom supply store. One day she accidentally left a faucet open, filling the tub to the brim, and Lucius emerged, gasping for air. He noticed bubbles forming automatically in the tub. The store manager went to call the police while Mommy and Lucius started talking. Though they didn't speak the same language, Lucius gave Mommy a silver coin and asked her to show him around the store, and she understood the language of money. Lucius had never seen such shiny toilets and thought the secret to these flat-faced people's success must be written on the printed toilet paper. But what he liked most was the jet spray, which made every part of him tingle. He took all these ideas back to Rome and built the most splendid bathroom for the king, featuring a toilet with a constant water supply, a tub where slaves created bubbles by blowing air, a shiny fishbowl for decoration, and scented candles for relaxation. The king rewarded him with a valuable necklace. Lucius rushed home to find his wife had run off with his friend. Meanwhile, Mommy, in the 21st century, started studying Roman history to see if Lucius was really from the past. She discovered that the coin Lucius gave her was over 2,000 years old. Back in Rome, Lucius was wandering, heartbroken, when he received another summons from the palace. The king's son had died a few months ago, and the king believed his son had been reincarnated as a crocodile. He wanted Lucius to design a place where the crocodile could live comfortably. Lucius faced a tough challenge, because if the crocodile died, the king would not spare him. So, pretending to check the water, he got into the king's tub and was transported to the 21st century again. This time, he found himself in a zoo, trapped in a cage with a crocodile. Mommy, who seemed to always find him, was on a date she didn't like. Seeing Lucius, she ran to him and freed him from the cage. She showed him around the zoo, and Lucius learned all about crocodiles and their habitats. Mommy even made him shoot arrows to see if he was really from Rome, and he hit every target perfectly. After a while, he was sitting in a hot spring when the strong current pulled him back to Rome. Within a few months, Lucius had built a place for the king's crocodile son. The king now considered Lucius part of his family. Everything was going well in the city, until news came that some rebels were planning to attack the army because they were unhappy with the king. The king's army and the rebels fought for a year. The aging king decided to pass his throne to his nephew, Seonius, who wanted to build a grand bathhouse to win the people's hearts. The king ordered Lucius to do the job, but Lucius didn't like Seonius, who was arrogant and exploited people. Lucius knew that with Seonius as king, the Roman Empire was doomed, so he refused to work for him. Seonius threatened to hang him, but Lucius didn't budge. Lucius approached another architect for work, but due to Lucius's fame, all other work had stopped, leading to a scuffle. The man pushed Lucius into a well, and when he opened his eyes, he was once again among the Japanese. He was injured, and they treated his wounds and took him to a hot spring to heal quickly. They even gave him some homemade liquor to ease the pain. Shortly after Mommy arrived, she had been learning Lucius's language, but before she could say anything, Lucius, drunk, fell on her and they both fell into the spring. When they woke up, they were in Rome. Mommy was shocked to find out that Lucius was going to be hanged for refusing the king's order. She tried to convince Lucius to change his mind, but he wouldn't listen and packed his things to leave. Meanwhile, in the 21st century, some elderly men looking for Mommy fell into the spring and were transported to Rome like Lucius. Lucius stumbled upon a hot spring while walking and remembered how the flat-faced people had healed him with hot water. He thought this could help the king's soldiers recover from their wounds. After consulting Mommy, he presented his idea to the king, saying it came from Antonius, another contender for the throne and much more capable than Seonius. Lucius wanted Antonius to rise in the king's favor. With the king's permission, Lucius, Mommy, and the elderly men from the 21st century set to work. Within hours, they built the first hut, and soon many houses sprang up around the spring where wounded soldiers came to heal. The elderly men used 21st century medicine to speed up their recovery. A few months later, the king's soldiers won the battle against the rebels, and there was celebration everywhere. Mommy and Lucius, who had grown to love each other, shared sweet moments together. Lucius had never felt so happy in his life. But suddenly all the elderly men started disappearing, and Mommy began to fade away too. Before she vanished completely, Lucius promised they would meet again. After that, the king handed the throne to Antonius and honored Lucius for his bravery. Without him, they would have never won the war. Back in the 21st century, Mommy's new life had begun. One day, while walking down the street, she saw Lucius emerging from a spring. They reunited, and Lucius fulfilled his promise to meet Mommy again. So this was the end of the movie. Hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, then hit the thumbs up. Please consider subscribing to the channel. Stay tuned for more detailed explanation of movies. Thanks for watching.